All right, ladies and gents, welcome to the debut of the second season of Titans League. As is the norm with my content, there's an issue in the first 3 seconds there. I just moved the image at the bottom right for you. This is going to be a fun series, as will all the sets, hopefully. Quick little reminder on kind of how Titans League works for those of you that haven't been following. So you've got 24 players in the Platinum group. This is the highest group in the whole world. And then there's also a Gold League that's running simultaneously below it. The bottom 2 of each group of 6 players from Platinum are going to be relegated to Gold for the next season. And then the top 2 from Gold are going to move on to Platinum. And that rotation continues. Here in Platinum, as we see both players looking to find some additional sheep, as we have a new map pool for the season, obviously. Here in Platinum, you get $40 per victory, as well as placement prizes for moving on out of the group stage and such. So basically, it's a good opportunity for players to get more cash in their pockets, right? $40 per win is not a bad deal at all for playing a 23-year-old game. But then again, the prestige of a normal tournament where you have the quarterfinals onwards to the finals later on. Each game matters, okay? So the most important thing is how many wins you have at the end of the groups, and you play everyone in your group 3 times, regardless of how good or bad those games end up looking for you. Ganji was a player who was first in his group in Gold Season 1, a player from Sweden, one of the few high-level players from Sweden. And so he comes in here as the underdog. Many might say he might be favored to get relegated back down to the Gold League for the next season. We'll see. Like, that's going to be the interesting thing is, will the players who got promoted simply get relegated back down to the bottom? It's always that type of conversation. So we've got Ganji playing as the Franks. We've got JorDan playing as the Hindustanis, which is a really good matchup for the Hindustanis, I feel. And the map is Ghost Lake here. A couple things to mention about Ghost Lake. It's one of 5, or it could be 6 maps. Forgive me for not knowing the exact number, but of new maps that have been brought in for this season. So we still have some of the favorites, some of the standard maps, you could say, that will be in this pool as compared to the first season. But this is a new map. It's winter for me. Doesn't really feel like winter where I live, excuse me, but I wanted it to feel very wintry. So we have a couple snow maps. But yeah, anywho, and shoot, what was the other thing? Oh yeah, so we based this version off the ladder version of DE. I don't know how familiar you guys are with the ladder version of Ghost Lake on Definitive Edition, but as always, we tweaked a lot of things because we found the ladder version is just not so good in some areas. So what we did was we maintained the consistency that the main goal is always bordering the ice. I actually really like that because Ghost Lake is usually a pretty wall-heavy map and a pretty defense-heavy map. So that changes that aspect. But we did some general balancing with the wood line, so there's not quite as much wood to wall between. Like sometimes we had instances where like JorDan would have like 2 more wood lines here and then a wood line here, and it would be more like Black Forest for him. The other thing we did is we lessened the amount of sheep in the middle. So there are extra sheep, and you can see JorDan got the better of that whole little hunt, you could say. But there's not quite as much as DE has. I think it's 8. Actually, you know what? I think I gave the feedback to the DE devs, and they lessened what they had before. They used to have like 16 in the middle. Anyways, I think we have 8 additional sheep in the middle. As I'm looking at JorDan's base, I'm like suddenly questioning that. Maybe it's just something that maybe I missed a few things here. I mean, there still seems to be a lot of sheep. And so that's why I was thinking maybe Britons or Gujaras could be solid picks. Maybe Tatars. I saw some practice matches recently where we saw Tatars. But neither of these civilizations really actually have a sheep bonus. So kind of interesting to see these picks here. I was not expecting it based on their draft. All right. Yeah, Britons was on the draft board for JorDan, but he didn't end up going for Britons here. He also had Gujaras as well, so must be saving those civilizations for later. Anyways, apologies as well if I'm still sounding a little bit under the weather. Doing my best, but I'm almost over this cold, so I'm pretty happy with where things are at right now. So both players going for a scout build. JorDan will be faster. JorDan trying to stop the deer from being brought in here, and at the moment, JorDan has more scout HP. He will also reach feudal age faster, so Ganji, you might want to be careful here. Like, going up 20 pop with all this food is actually a bit slower than you would normally expect. So I think JorDan's just going to simply try and find that scout. He's not expecting Ganji will be running out across the map, though, so JorDan might not be lucky enough to find it. That would have given him a couple extra hits. There's the barracks for Ganji. And there's the barracks for JorDan. Things looking pretty clean for JorDan here, considering it's 19 pop. And he won't need to seed farms for a long time, too. So I think the timing should be fine for Ganji, though. Obviously, game 1. Ganji's no stranger to playing versus JorDan. Actually, it was, I think, a Red Bull qualifier where Ganji beat JorDan in a best of 3. Now, that was Empire Wars. But those that really follow the competitive scene will remember that series. And I actually was not casting that. I was actually out on a little pontoon boat with friends. And I got told multiple times, stop looking at your phone. But I was like, is Ganji going to beat JorDan? I got to find out, you know. So, and then I promptly drank a little bit too much after that. But yeah, it was a really exciting time for him. And we have another opportunity here for Ganji to maybe get the best of JorDan. As far as playstyle goes, like Ganji can play more than standard. I think the thing that separates Ganji from maybe some other players that will be playing in Platinum is he has some good what we call clown strategies down. So like he can play standard, but he picked Arena, for example, and he picked Portuguese first. So I think he's going to be going for some funky stuff there. But every single player in Platinum and Gold as well can play standard. Like you simply cannot be in the top 50 of the world if you can't play standard. But you know, there might be a few exceptions in Gold. Maybe something to talk about once we cover some Gold matches, which we will be doing. You can already see the farms are coming out here for Ganji. I wouldn't consider that as a big negative for him, though. I mean, you do get horse color for free with the Franks. Farms is your long-term choice anyways. And Ganji's played really safe so far, as has JorDan. And so they both opened with scouts, but you know, it does seem like it's going to be more defensive play from here. The thing that's weird for Ganji, though, is his golds are all exposed here. So he's not going to be able to take his gold easily, especially if JorDan goes for a bit of an archer switch. But let's see what JorDan sees. I mean, JorDan can see that. He doesn't know about this gold, which Ganji does know about. But Ganji's walling really close to his TC right now. Not really trying to use this control to wall this area, for example. In all fairness, he hasn't scouted that yet, but like walling that and taking the back gold would have allowed him to just stay on stable units and ease his way towards knights later. And JorDan may be thinking about that now. He's going to gold. This is a little bit earlier than you would normally see. So that would tell me that JorDan wants to drop a range. And easy as you like. Both players just chilling out here. JorDan moving forward now because he's secured his walls. He's bringing his spearmen to the middle. Ganji thinking about the same. He's almost completely walled now. And now he will be. And this will be a race to Castle Age for sure. Are all maps 3-ville starts? Yes. It's all standard Age of Empires 2 settings. And maps are... We've removed Houseboat from this season's pool, so there's less... If you consider Houseboat gimmicky, is a little less gimmicky as well, I guess you could say. But yeah, like this is a problem, man. And Ganji could have... I mean, obviously, it's awkward. But he could have actually done something to prevent this from being as awkward with walling this direction and this direction, like we said. He did scout the gold in the back. I'll be curious to see what JorDan chooses to do now. JorDan sees that gold. We have 0 kills, 0 deaths. JorDan did get a couple pokes in on the scouts of Ganji. Ganji's going to probably run away from this, but there's always a chance he doesn't. He's never expecting to get in there. And, ooh, that's sloppy. Oh, God, this is really bad. It's okay. It's not really bad, but it just is a little sloppy from him as he's now concerned. And he's dropped the outpost there. So I think the main thing that JorDan's benefited from in this game, first off, he forgot his blacksmith. Yikes. He didn't add the range, by the way. He forgot his blacksmith, so that's going to hurt his time a little bit. But, you know, JorDan just had a couple extra sheep. He also produced 1 less scout, and also his villagers are cheaper. What do they save? Like, is it 40 food per villager in Feudal Age for the Hindustanis? I actually forget. I think it is 40, because I think they get a Dark Age discount. I know they do, so I think it's 45 in Dark Age. I think it's 40 then in Feudal. And so you'd have to do the math on how many villagers he created. What did he went up 19 pops, so that's what, 12 vills? So I'm trying to think 12 times 10. And then plus the extra sheep. I mean, all those things kind of add up to having a slightly faster castle age, I guess. JorDan's going to add more scouts here. And I think we might actually see cav archers from him. He's adding the range now, but the range is delayed enough where making regular archers wouldn't make sense. And I really like the decision because Ganji, like, the thing about the Hindustanis is they can kind of do everything. Like, cav archers are really strong for them. They have the camels, which attack 20% faster, which neutralizes night civs. And then they have the Gulam, which is an anti-archer unit. Like, this is why I said this civilization. So what we did for this season is we added 2 global bans for both players. And I literally said, I'm kind of sick of seeing certain civilizations. We changed it up so certain civs can't be relied on. And then I saw that Ganji didn't ban Hindustanis. And so this could be a problem. Like, you're just always trying to guess what the civ could do. The civ can do everything really well, right? So I think Ganji could be in trouble if he doesn't get his TC up. He's clearly prepping for some type of camel play from JorDan. Is not going to be camels. Actually, I'm not even sure what it's going to be from JorDan. He's not even committing to the second range. Ganji lost 3 units this game. He hasn't killed a single one. Did make an outpost here, which means he can't go for 2 TCs right away because you need 200 stone to do that. Will he regret not banning the Hindustanis? I forget what civs he banned. But JorDan had first pick, so you go 2 bans and into JorDan getting that first pick. And there's the TC instantly. Why is Cav Archer strong for Hindustanis? Isn't it just generic and they don't even get Parthian or bonus for CA? They get full blacksmith upgrades. They have cheap vills to boom with it. I mean, it's not like... There's a lot of civilizations where Cav Archers are generic, but it's still a good option, right? Like Japanese Cav Archers, though I guess they get a couple more upgrades. I have to say, though, I'm not a big fan of JorDan only going 1 range for Cav Archers. It's very passive. I'm surprised he's done that. He hasn't committed for map control at all. Love the TC position from Ganji. And he's also TCing his woodline back here, and I like how he deleted the walls and placed it. Yeah, Mystery Moose, I heavily disagree. The vills being cheaper in each age was a solid eco bonus before the Hindustanis received, like, 5 buffs from going from Indians to Hindustanis. I don't want to change... I would personally not want to see any changes to the vills. That was always really good. Cav Archers now with 2 ranges from JorDan, so that's looking a little bit better. It is important to note that the stone is here, and then the stone is here for Ganji, because when you're thinking Franks, you're thinking eventually getting a lot of castles up, right? We have a monastery opening here from Ganji, who knows it's Cav Archers at this point. And he's scouting the rest of the map. He could see this gold too. That's going to be a talking point, as well as this one. Those are neutral golds. And to what somebody had just mentioned in my chat, I think forward siege is not actually a great strategy on this map because you cannot build on the ice. Otherwise, certainly, like lots of open space, forward siege against the TC, but it's actually less viable due to that fact. Nice work here from Ganji. It's kind of funny, though. He killed a villager there, actually. Well played. But it's funny to me how the Cav Archers were standing right next to the TC. And there was a flag on the TC, but there were no arrows because spearmen don't actually help out with any additional arrows. It's just kind of an awkward scenario you don't see too frequently. And JorDan's going to have a lot of map control, right? And for Ganji, he opened with the monastery first. Oftentimes, it's a decision of do you go monastery or do you go siege workshop? Fortunately for him, he's not going to lose too many of his knights. Here he is going to lose one most likely. But he runs back, and you can see the Lord's face. We're not going to see the Lord play today, I don't think. Might see him on Saturday, but excited to see what he can do in Titans League Season 2. Ganji's still looking to lock down the rest of his gold. And just under a lot of pressure from JorDan. But, you know, not only forward siege workshops are awkward, but forward castles end up being awkward as well, right? So it's not like JorDan can use this control and drop a castle here. He would have to drop it more along the lines of here. This will likely be a dead monk, but the monk does get a relic. JorDan will probably be happy with that, though. You can't stop your opponent from getting all the relics, as he is currently with his monastery, and he's hoping to get as many relics as possible. Is the schedule of the order of the game somewhere? It's on the Discord. You'd have to look in the Discord. The games are scheduled. We've got 12 sets happening each week in each league. So 24 sets a week. And it's impossible for me to like have that like a graphic made. It's just within the Discord. JBR makes a post all the time. But I can certainly talk about what's going to be happening today. Today we've got Ganji JorDan. After that we have Dark versus Yo. And then we have 2 other sets. I think Vinchester running, and then one more I'm forgetting at the moment. But I think the problem still exists for Ganji here, just locking down these golds. Like, that has been a consistent issue for him in this game. He does have nice Scorpion numbers, though, and he's making some more monks, and he's making more stables so he can make more knights. Let's look at resources collected so far this game. Ganji is ahead, and he's ahead with the food. Remember, we talked about the importance of farms with Franks. Ganji's done a really good job with that. And I love the fact that he's been on this stone. And I think if JorDan were to lose this game, that will be something he'll regret. Like, there's no reason why he can't be denying this stone and heading to this stone, right? And say we've got the knights, we've got the scorpions. We have +2 armor now for Ganji, who is committing more and more towards knights. He's adding even another stable now. So this is something that could get a little awkward for JorDan because he still only has 11 cav archers. So, like, the question is going to be, how effective are cav archers going to be in that number? Notice how he's switching back into camels, which is not bad. But he maxed out on upgrades, at least with the attack for the cav archers. Well, maxed out is the wrong way of saying it. He got good upgrades. Yeah, but he just stopped, and now he's committing back towards camels. Obviously, a great combination to have cav archers and camels, but JorDan might need more numbers in both. And he might need more of those upgrades. As Ganji, I think, is going to try and get a castle up here. JorDan, by the way, camping on that relic with a weak scout. We'll have to see if Ganji noticed that. And JorDan really wanting to control the map. If there's something to describe JorDan's plays, like, very controlled. He doesn't take a lot of risks. He's happy to just control the map, mass army, and take this to late game here. That camel should be deleted by JorDan. Really good play from him there because camel just doesn't do enough damage. Castle there from Ganji is interesting. So we know Ganji doesn't need that castle right there. He could have actually gone for this castle. Oh, that scout's taking out farms here. Ganji's got to delete those farms. That's 60 wood down the drain. That's funny. Got to delete more farms too. I think that one was deleted. And okay, now the scout goes down. But that scout there. Oh, man. That scout with an assist and a half here. No way. It's the small things in this game. We're featuring Blink 182 over here, man. Oh, man. That must be so frustrating for Ganji. You try and delete a couple farms, which is actually pretty time-consuming, and then you have to replace the farms. And then your Scorpions are out of position because of it. Obviously, he's not going to go for heavy Scorpion or anything, but it would have been helpful, I think, to have those Scorpions combined with the Knights, because he's going for full Castle Age upgrades, or at least was considering it. I think for Ganji, he was thinking about going all in to push JorDan, but now he's thinking better of it. And there's still a big question, like, what do you do against this composition from JorDan? I honestly, I don't see a world where JorDan doesn't always have the best composition. JorDan's also going to have 3 relics, and he's being so bold as to TC this gold, even though he has vision on this one as well, and even has the scout up there. And this is just an awful matchup for Franks. Hindustanis do not have bad matchups. And if you go into hand cannons, the Hindustani, or sorry, if you go into Halbs, the Hindustanis have hand cannons. And they also can continue with cav archers. And that might not look like the best trade for JorDan, but that's actually pretty good, I think. It could have been better, though. I mean, Franks are Franks. I guess like the Scorpions, maybe the Castle Fire there. So this is a really big mess underneath Ganji's town center. He's going to have to fix that, and we'll actually see. I mean, maybe there's a time window here. I looked at some of the stats from the Hindustanis since they became the Hindustanis the other day, and I almost barfed. The pick rate, play rate, win rate, everything's just insane. So, you know, I go into that in my mind, and that affects me as a caster, right? There's a sense of inevitability about certain situations in this game, whether that be like castles on certain types of hills, or, you know, even just engagements civ versus civ. But the KD says that this is still a pretty close game, as we see a couple knights head over this way for Ganji, desperate for some counter-attacking. And JorDan comes over here to deny this stone. Now, there is the other stone there for Ganji. Hindustanis also destroy buildings faster with the cavalry, so the houses will actually go down pretty quickly. And JorDan got a conversion there with that monk. He did lose it. I'm not sure if you guys spotted it, but there was one there. And now JorDan is forcing a house down behind this. And these 2 camels are actually going to end up destroying this house, and this could lead to dead villagers for Ganji, who still is just backed up into a corner here. And it feels like he's always a couple steps behind. Precisely what JorDan would want, obviously. And JorDan runs in here. And for Ganji, he just doesn't know what to do, right? Does not know what to do. JorDan's going to need to leave now after killing a few villagers. But I think the most important thing about this is just the positioning of the castle. Like, I'm a little surprised JorDan isn't leaving. But yeah, this castle being here is never what Ganji would have wanted. He would have wanted the castle to secure more of the map. Ooh, Knights did get in back here, though. Nice job from Ganji, evening out the scores with the villager KD. Here we go. Danny Lopez says, why is JorDan playing Silver League? What about this makes you think this is Silver League, my friend? We're in Platinum League. Things are moving very fast. Also, I should probably change this to say play, like spell out play all. I think some people might not know what that is. JorDan is going to go Cav Archers, as we maybe expected him to do, right? He's got 12 Cav Archers. The numbers could be an issue, but he's still got the camels to back it all up. He's got 3 relics. Could be 3-2 if Ganji were to get this one. And Ganji wants to go maybe Halb Paladin as his long term. As we have JorDan dropping a castle here. I really like the Cav Archer choice because it's much faster than hand cannons. And also you can't go hand cannons until after chemistry, so it allows you to create units at this stage of the game. Yet again, calculated from JorDan there as he hits Imp. Let's see, does Ganji know about this gold down here? He does. He also knows about this gold, which JorDan's also going to go to. So long-term gold income will be better for JorDan as long as the positions stand. And JorDan actually canceled... maybe I'm wrong, actually. I don't think he canceled Bracer. But initially, I was thinking he was going to go for that first, and he's actually going to go for Heavy Camel and Plate Barding. I like that because those upgrades take way longer than Bracer. And, you know, Bracer is helpful enough on its own. We have Halb first for Ganji. Ganji's probably going to start branching out here with the cap. That's the way to do it. Just like 1 or 2 knights around to see what JorDan's doing. And JorDan also went for Light Cav, which tells me he's thinking about raiding. Obviously, Light Cav doesn't cost gold, right? I think you have to go Paladin Halb. Like, that's your only win condition. Skirmishers are bad for Franks. You can't go for that route. I think it's like castles everywhere, Paladin Halb, and hope for the best. This is going to be a really important castle if it goes up. I want to see if JorDan spots that at all. He will be able to see that foundation. Ganji could wall it in, but he doesn't know he's been spotted. And he's trying to look around here. Little surprised he didn't head over to that gold. Here he's hitting a wood line. Here JorDan's defending from this. JorDan will spot this, though. Something Ganji could probably still complete if he were to send a couple units over there. Again, really surprised that Ganji hasn't gone to that gold. He did scout that. And JorDan's army mass is looking pretty crazy here. 35 camels. He's got 60 army right now. And they have pretty much the same vill count right now. Oh god, this is no bueno. Oh man, that's so bad for Ganji. Feels like that castle had to go up for him to have a chance here, right? He doesn't have a lot of extra stone income. He still could complete it, but this gives JorDan time to assess the situation and figure things out. Had no army to back it up. JorDan reacted pretty nicely there with the tower and a couple camels. And oh boy, we've got villagers. Where'd they come from? I guess they looped around the wood line. And as long as Ganji patrols the Halbs this way, he will actually complete this castle. It's sloppy, it's messy, it hurts. I think he's going to put a lot more food into creating more villagers that he would have wanted to creating army. But the castle will go up and JorDan's going to have to leave this area for a moment. But think about it, from JorDan's perspective, he's just maxing out on upgrades. You do get heavy Cav Archer with the Hindustanis. So like I said, like I think someone earlier was mentioned like why is Cav Archers good? Well, it's just I guess it's because combination with their economy and everything else, right? They have the ability to go for really good Cav Archers. It's not I guess maybe really good is the wording that had bothered that individual. I guess generic is still what they might be. But there's a lot of civs that cannot go for Bloodline Cav Archers with Heavy Cav Archer and Bracer and Chemistry and full Blacksmith upgrades. A lot of civs cannot do that. Indians can do that. Or Hindustanis, excuse me. JorDan did actually collect the majority of this gold. And now we have Imp Camel as well. Yeah, this is just... I do not think that this is a winnable game for Ganji. JorDan has known it. He's controlled the game. He has superior relics. He has superior gold control. He's taken no risks whatsoever. And I think the only thing for JorDan that's going to be a little awkward is just 2 Cav over here just waiting. He might be looking to castle this hill. So we'll see if maybe that gets denied. But you'd need to have Paladin to have a chance here. And even still, I think you have some problems. And for Ganji, he's been playing catch-up for a bit here. And yeah, there's going to be the Castle Foundation. Ganji's just left those units there. He's not paying attention to them. He's done that because he wants to... Like, he wants those Cavalier to, like, kill villagers if they head over to the stone at some point. So it's very common to leave 1 or 2 units on a resource as you worry about everything else. Yeah, I think you have to try Paladin here, right? Now, I also love how JorDan isn't showing Imp Camel to his opponent. It's really interesting, right? He's hid that. He's waited for 4 trebs as well. Everything's so calculated. Even going for Siege Engineers. JorDan is looking amazing right now. And game number 1, Platinum League. JorDan, what place did he get in the first season? I forget now. Was it 3rd? Or was it 4th? Or was it 2nd? I remember it was a really weird instance because you had like Viper, JorDan, Doubt. Now, I think JorDan ended up getting 2nd. There was an important... or did Doubt get 2nd? Shoot. Anyways, JorDan obviously stayed alive. And finally, now Ganji's able to get to that gold. He was 2nd place. Yeah. So JorDan had a good showing in the first season. In a very competitive group with a lot of his teammates. Remember, went down to the final series there to determine his spot. And holy trebs from Ganji. 7 trebs? He loses his castle. And look at the beauty of the Cav Archers. It's just so easy for them to pick off those halbs. They have the mobility to run away as well. And I think if you're Ganji, you're pretty close to a point where you've just got to take a fight soon once Paladin kicks. Great job from JorDan. Do not trickle treb. The #1 lesson I'm always trying to teach. And if you ask JorDan, he would definitely say he learned that from me. I taught him everything he knows. The reason Ganji would have gone for 7 trebs is because he knows he's on the clock. So he's hoping to wait to like surprise JorDan with Paladin, take a fight, and then treb down everything right behind it. 7's still a lot more than you normally see, but he's probably just queuing up everything he can. We're going to have a fully popped battle here. I kind of like how Ghost Lake is, it feels like this is the battlefield, you know? It's very unique that there's no obstruction, there's no hills. It's just a battle to the death. And here we go, Imp Camels versus Cav Archers in T90 Titans League. JorDan pulling the camels away. Really well done, too, because the majority of the halbs are on this side. Those trebs are going forward. Ganji feels like he has to win this fight. Otherwise, it's a problem. It's actually not the worst fight I've ever seen. Because he's getting a big clear up over here. And all of a sudden, JorDan, he's focusing on the treb numbers. Ganji's trebs, they still need support. But don't tell me that Ganji's actually going to do this. Oh my god. This would be sick, man. The 7 trebs are paying off now. Or I guess it's 6. 200 pop for Ganji. JorDan, he's trying to get hand cannons out, but he's not making camels anymore. A thing to mention here is JorDan did go for an all-gold composition. He is making a few hussars, but for the most part, all of his units have cost gold. Oh my goodness. Ganji, deathmatch style, pushing JorDan. And if he makes a castle there and trebs down the ranges, he might actually be able to do that. I think he will do this. He needs every ounce of gold that's remaining sent into Paladins, though, because, you know, the halbs, they're actually not needed as much as the Paladins. But, oh my god, this is amazing. The relics are also right here. Remember this, by the way, guys. If it comes to a conversation on the final weeks of Ganji getting, like, 3rd or 4th or 5th place or JorDan, whatever placement, every single game matters. We had so many instances in the first season where there was 1 or 2 games that decided important placements. And I think Ganji's just about to do this. Still 25 Paladins. JorDan lost all of his camels. And, oh, he's going to lose all of his trebs over here as well. Unbelievable. Ganji turning things around. And, you know, casters everywhere, myself included, obviously, talking about the Hindustanis this, Hindustanis that. Where are my people who say Franks are OP? Where are my Frank pickers? Franks might not be new, but there's still Franks. Holy crap. JorDan probably can't believe it right now. I mean, he's completely dead, by the way. He's completely dead. There's no way to come back from this. He will lose all of his castles. He will lose all of his villagers. It's 60 army versus 4. Dang. What in the world, man? Was JorDan too distracted with the trebs, or was his army too expensive? Those are certainly things to talk about here. But Ganji, the player who surprised everyone by winning his group in gold with 13 or 14 wins, yet again gets an important win against JorDan in a tournament. And we have 2 more games, obviously. Those games will be played regardless. But what a start to Titans League, man. That is an amazing start. This is the point, guys. The whole point is to have players who can get promoted and say, hey, I'm with the big boys now. Look at me, you know? Sick. Oh, man, that actually gave me some chills there, to be honest with you. JorDan collected more resources in this game. So, and I felt like he had a good approach. So the question is, what went wrong? I think a couple things. I think JorDan, it doesn't suit his style, but he could have actually been more aggressive in early Castle Age against his TC. He could have been more aggressive with the Cav Archers on these wood lines. Remember, he went real eco-heavy instead of adding the numbers. I don't necessarily think that that approach was wrong, by the way. I think that that's just JorDan's style, and it's a boomy map, so that's completely fine. But I think in terms of the fight, I think the concern for him was he was hesitant to pull back for whatever reason. Like, he initially had really good micro. Let's see. Let's go back to the fight. Okay, so here's this engagement. So he's got units in queue and all that stuff. That's good. So let's look. So initially the engagement's good, but he has mobility with his army, right? So I think he was just thinking, I have heavy CA and Imp Camel. I can never lose. And so he took a fight that he thought would be good enough, and then he would win the game from there because he has more gold. I'm pretty sure that was in his mind. But let's look at it again. Sorry, I can't find it. Okay, so initially it was good micro to pull the camels to the side. So you're going to see it right here. Pulls the camels away. See, this is perfect. The start to the fight's perfect. But then he gets psyched out by the trebs. And the Cav Archers don't pull back, and the camels don't pull back. I think if he pulls back here and pulls back here and just re-patrols into the fight, I think he takes a better engagement. But he lost his camel mass because he was just fighting up against Halbs, and his Cav Archers, they focused down the trebs. So it was like, that's also the beauty of, the main thing I want to say is, like, that's the beauty of how Ganji played this, because you show up with trebs and you're like, hey, I'm going to kill you right now, and then people make some weaker decisions. I do think JorDan would have actually been okay there. Also, like, the hand cannon switch, I think, is unnecessary if you're going for Cav Archers, so I think you, like, decide on one or the other, but I think that was besides the point because, like, a minute later, he had lost his entire base, and he was down to, you know, lower army numbers, so that was impressive. Also, check this out, guys. Check this out. I want to show you this because this is such an epic play that I couldn't point out in the moment. Watch this. 132 Vils. 132 Vils. 108 Vils. So Ganji realized he did not get raided, okay? He realizes he's on the clock and he's got units in queue. Normally you want to stay at like 125, 130 Vils. I don't know when it happens, but let's look for it in his base. He deletes pop, like there. He just, look, boom, villagers killed. So he deletes 20 pop, and if not a little bit more, and then his army count could go up to like 90 during that fight. That was such a sick move, dude. You don't see that every day. Ganji with the next level strategies wins the first game of Titans League Season 2. Obviously pockets himself $40, which is great. And then we'll move on to game number 2. All right, so game number 2 here. I apologize for speeding up through much of this. The other game was so epic that I had to talk about it more. And so here we are. So Ganji's playing as the Japanese on Shoals. This is JorDan's home map. And if you watched Red Bull Wololo Legacy, you saw Shoals there. That was debuted during that tournament. And we brought it in here for season number 2, though we did make some changes to make it more applicable, at least in my eyes, to a random map. So the whole focus of this map is you start off with an interesting situation on water where there's this X of crossings that allows you to cross on land. But on those crossings are a sea tower, which is pretty strong. And then throughout the middle, you have fish. So this is as close to like a full-on water map as you're going to get in Titans League, as we don't have anything like islands, for example. But we basically opted for this over something like Baltic or Mediterranean, as I think it's just more dynamic of a type of map. So there's 2 tiles of gold at each player's base, and then the rest of the gold is always to the sides, as well as some extra stone there as well, for what it's worth. So from what I've seen so far, players are just going for water, which is, again, we wanted a map in this event that incorporated water. And Ganji's going to go for his dock, and JorDan's going to do the exact same. And JorDan also trying to push in all of his hunt as quickly as possible. So he's able to get the food as quickly as possible with the Mongols to compete for water. Now, I can't help but bring up the fact that JorDan losing that first game could have repercussions for him later on in this freaking season. Like, he really needs to tie it up and get a win here. Because if you look at the way the groups are situated, and I mean no offense to Ganji with this, but like Ganji is one of the easier opponents. No opponents are easy in this event. It's Platinum League. It's the top 24 in the world. You're going to have 5 other players in your group if you're JorDan that are going to be very good regardless. But fact of the matter is Ganji's one of the promoted players. There's only one other player that was promoted. All the other guys are guys that were in a really good spot. Like I think I don't have the groups memorized yet, but like Hera's one of the other players, and then there's another name that's failing me or escaping me at the moment. But yeah, so you have some deep fish out here, but it's not super deep fish heavy. We added more deep fish and removed some shore fish as compared to Red Bull Wolo Legacy. And the players want to take deep fish because it is more efficient than shore fish, but eventually they can move on to shore fish. And yeah, there goes JorDan. He's up already. In Season 1, did JorDan not also have a harsh start to his group? I forget, actually. But he has Capwatch, Miguel, and Kingston, Hera, and then Ganji in his group, so. Thank you, Jack. I'll have it memorized after a week, hopefully. Anyways, Ganji hasn't clicked up as quickly because he doesn't have that little bonus that the Mongols do with the hunt. And, ooh, okay, I thought JorDan was going to take the hunt there. It makes a lot more sense to go for gold. Again, haven't seen a lot of RM starts on this map yet, but I've also noticed the theme seems to be galleys as opposed to fire galleys. I think a big part of that, though, is because the sea tower has range, and fire ships need to get in close to the ships. So I actually think galleys is pretty much the only play if you want to snipe fishing ships, because you can do it from a bit of distance. And Ganji will be up a minute behind JorDan. So I mean, that's enough for JorDan to be able to snowball if he can micro well. T90, do you think you will add an islands variation for TTL at some point? Or do you like the hybrid maps to allow players to try and use different strats to win? I mean, all of the above, right? I do really like hybrid maps. You know, the one thing that we will have lacked, like when you look at the map pool from Season 1 and Season 2, the one thing we will not have had is like a pure water map. Where it's like all you do is water. So like islands. But I could easily see us bringing islands into the fold come Season 3. So we'll see. But I mean, all of the above, right? Like I could definitely see us bringing in something like islands for future seasons. Ganji loses his scout. That is an amazing start for JorDan then. But we were looking through all our different maps. And I really liked the idea of bringing in shoals at this time. And we have Scandinavia, which also has water on it. We have Cross, which also has water on it. So I didn't make this list public, but basically a list of maps, a list of map types, like open, standard land, hybrid. And we just had an even balance, or as even as you can get with 11 maps. All right, so Ganji has been able to keep his fishing ships alive so far. And the thing you want to look out for here is a barracks. Sometimes players will feel like they have a lead on water, and they could go for land, and they could surprise someone. Especially JorDan, because JorDan has killed Ganji's scout, so Ganji wouldn't be able to scout that. But, I mean, JorDan's winning the race to the galleys, but the sea tower is keeping Ganji's fish protected. And this is funny, actually. Man, Ganji's really smart. The previous game, I think one of the most epic plays I've seen all year, guys, as we're 5 days into January. But no, seriously, him deleting 25 villagers right before that fight in the previous game could have made the difference between winning or losing. That was freaking epic. And then, now you had this nifty little move where JorDan showed up here a moment ago, didn't see the fish, and then he figured JorDan would loop around, and he just shifted the fish over here. So JorDan's just like, I need to kill, and he can't find anything yet. Now Ganji's going to get surprised, though, and this is going to be tough to kill, obviously, because it's Japanese. Ooh, okay, but yeah, one fishing ship goes down. Not the end of the world, though, because JorDan's only had 2 fishing ships, so that just evens out the score. And now fletching comes in for JorDan. No fletching yet for Ganji. And Ganji's going for the barracks and the range. Okay. Now, this is also really smart play from JorDan. If you're not going to go for the land, you need to wall as you continue to commit towards water. Also, Ganji moving out without fletching is very risky. You could easily just lose all water control if you do that. I'm surprised he's taking that risk. I wonder how much vision you get with Town Watch from this sea tower. It's really fascinating. And JorDan's doing everything right, though, I think. He's taking the additional hunt. He's walling towards the TC. Oh, he's even going to take hunt here. He's going to wall there. So these villagers would be exposed, I guess. But just look at the amount on food. Ganji's so low on food right now. And it's showing in the fact that he can't even afford fletching. Like, he honestly just doesn't have good eco balance. He's got too much wood. He does feel like JorDan's out of position, though. So he goes in for JorDan's fish, and we'll get one. Should get both of them here. And then he could go on home to his sea tower. That sea tower is no joke, man. It fires a lot of arrows. And now you have fletching on the way for JorDan. Sorry, not JorDan, Ganji. And Ganji's going to pull back yet again. But, I mean, with micro, Ganji could definitely win water, so JorDan still needs to be careful. JorDan's scout hasn't checked the front of Ganji's base. Definitely feels like that's something that he's going to want to do here. 500 wood for Ganji. He's going to use the market. Not a great sign. It's not showing that this game has been really clean for him. But ultimately, I think it's probably a smart move because you don't want to be minutes later to Castle Age. So you might as well sell it. And here he comes now. And he's actually going to see that JorDan had a villager there. And he almost gets the villager, but the villager dodges nicely. What a beast. And Ganji actually with some really good micro on the back of this. 4-3 KD. JorDan Scout didn't end up getting a villager kill here, by the way. He will see an archer, though. And the good news for JorDan is that he's already walled. If he has a hole, this is annoying. But as far as I can see, he doesn't have a hole. He is making a barracks down here towards the south, something Ganji hasn't seen. I don't see 2 archers and a spearman doing much here. But there's always a chance because you don't have a lot of vills underneath the town center in this type of game. But it looks like it's enough. And oh man, Ganji's going to get caught. The sea tower is going to... What? I guess he was just out of range of the sea tower. But yeah, JorDan knows exactly where he is, so he can't really go back this way easily. Look at the wood count for Ganji. Oh man, it definitely seems like a map he hasn't practiced a ton. Or just not his type of game. But if he sells it at the market, he could have a pretty solid Castle Age time. Here he is trying to do something. He, of course, doesn't know about these villagers as JorDan runs with them. JorDan's on the way to Castle Age. I could see the... Oh, God. Oh, this is painful. It was really well played here from JorDan, too. He's actually clicking. You guys, it's hard to show it. But there's no ballistics at this point, right? So JorDan clicked the forward ship. And so when the shots miss the forward ship, it hits the ships in the back of the group. So like here, you see, if he targets the forward ship, the back ship will get hit. And that's what he had done when that group went by. Something that, again, you'd have to know about to notice. But it's something we should give him credit for at the very least. And also, JorDan walls himself out from a crocodile here. And is now going to kill that crocodile. There's always a couple crocs protecting the gold. Ganji is on the way to Castle Age, though, but he's lost a lot of control in this game. And JorDan's just taking more hunt here. And I think these villagers are ultimately going to build a TC on this gold. And then JorDan's going to have vision on this side. So he's going to TC the north. He's going to try and pressure the south. He's going to add stable number 2. So we might see knights or step lancers from him. As we also see Ganji coming this way. But of course, he thinks he's the one that's going to be sneaky here. And there's the archer spearman. Maybe going to hope and pray that JorDan's distracted. JorDan is distracted at the moment, but JorDan saves his fishing ship. It's really important to know if JorDan will spot this. He might have had a second where he could have caught a glimpse of it, but I don't think he noticed. He's just going to take the hunt here? No, he's going to drop a TC there. Okay. Sorry for the sniffle. First one of the day, I'll take it. Ganji see that? Because, like, if Ganji knew about that, he would want to siege monk push this area. He does not know about that. He'll find this villager who could end up quick walling herself in. She's one hit away from death here. I think that's going to be a death. There's no way you can save that at this point. Ganji seeing this is the most important aspect of the game for him. If he knows about this, he's going to push it probably. And, well, he spotted it. Okay. Monastery at home from him. There is a hole here, by the way. Like, there's a very big gap, which JorDan could pressure. And, oh, man, JorDan's going to find these vills. This is going to be a town center, guys. Not to be. The step lancers are stepping all over this thing. JorDan with the micro, too. And I don't know, guys. Like, I know JorDan didn't have eco upgrades, and I'm just now realizing that. But this feels like it's going to be near impossible for Ganji to come back from. A TC at home for JorDan. His eco is going to be fine. And for poor Ganji, he's kind of split on where he's going to attack. So he's going to have a monastery at home, and then he's going to have a monastery here. It's going to be hard for him, especially when monks are so dependent on you controlling them. They don't auto-do anything, really. It's going to be extremely difficult for him to get that balance right. But it is possible, and you could argue that that could be complicated for JorDan. But I can tell you, normally it's the other way around. This JorDan has a nice little micro move there. And a great response from JorDan. Remember, the question was like, is he going to be able to get that win? Is this going to be a regret for him losing game number 1? And right now, it seems like JorDan has played this map 1,000 times. And here's the first big surprise here for JorDan. I love how they all fell the same exact way with their bow. The same direction. That was so synchronized. Hey, if you're going to go out, guys, just be synchronized so it looks cool, you know? Me and my boys will do the same thing someday. Oh, God, the step lancers are in here. This is not so synchronized. And this is always going to be the problem when you weren't threatening JorDan with the main push and forcing him to react to that constantly. This is always the potential. This could still be awkward for JorDan to defend, though. And we do have 3 monks for Ganji. He's adding Spearman. He's adding another Mangonel. And JorDan could lose that TC. And Ganji's also going to run that way to drop a TC on that gold. Now, he does have this monk here who's waiting for the faith to be able to get a conversion. And, whoa, there's a random archer in the back just blocked in here for Ganji. What the... He's like, save me, guys. They're like, no, we're keeping you safe there. It's too dangerous out here. Okay, Step Lancer here is going to get converted. All right, that's not too bad. So that might lead to this being cleared up now. And JorDan was trying to use his navy there to take out this push. And Ganji was wise to it. Ganji's done a really good job paying attention to it. Also, JorDan's done a really good job taking more hunts. That's pretty crazy. I wouldn't have expected Mongols to be doing that as much here. Like, when I saw Mongols, I thought it was all because of the starting hunt, but JorDan's genuinely been all over the place taking hunt. He's going to have to make his own siege here. By the way, from what you can see at Ganji's base, he's not really taking any gold there, right? So it's important that he takes gold here right away. Sometimes the villagers will automatically take wood if the wood's closer there, and he might not be able to pay attention to that. Oh my god, and he gets an amazing shot. JorDan doesn't have another mangonel on the way yet. Andy's going to have to repair the TC, so he might not have the wood for it. This is actually kind of awkward for JorDan. Oh, man. And there's Ganji. He's going to be back on golds. He's also sending a Step Lancer this way, which could contribute. JorDan could lose this out. Ganji might actually be okay for a while. To be honest, though, the longer this goes on, the better it still gets for the Mongols, I feel, right? Like, Japanese don't really have an answer to the Mongols in the late game. And the fishing aspect is obviously important, but nothing huge. As the Step Lancer runs in, I would try and use the Step Lancer against the Mangonel if I knew it was there. It probably won't kill it, but it could weaken it, which could make a difference. JorDan has more Step Lancers on the field, apparently. I'm not sure exactly where they are. And this is Ganji's point of view, and he sees that now. He's being really patient. There are other things we'll need to talk about. We'll need to talk about eco upgrades, farms, things like that, but not something we can really show you, or I can show you at the moment because of this push. It's a really good push. By the way, thanks again, everybody, for being here, watching, whether it be on the stream or YouTube. Appreciate it. Here, the Step Lancers are going to head the other direction. JorDan does not know about that town center. I think that's just to make sure. He's trying to prevent a town center from going up. Oh my god, that was another really good shot from Ganji. Ganji's Mangonel micro is insane. Those amazing play all around. He actually was deserving of a kill here, to be completely honest with you. The fact that he didn't get one there, I'd consider unlucky. Ganji's still going to have his work cut out for him in the long run. As he goes for redemption now and tries to convert JorDan's Mangonel and does get it at the cost of one monk. And JorDan might lose his position now. JorDan's Step Lancers are over here, though. There's got to be a hole here somewhere. Look how messy Ganji's economy is. That is why the reason he's having so much success is because he's not looking at the other aspects of his game. An overchop here could lead to losing 5 to 10 villagers, so JorDan's going to have to look for that. But yeah, JorDan will lose his town center. I will say this. JorDan used this town center as a tech town center. He didn't create many more vills. He went for like Town Watch and Wheelbarrow, which was pretty smart thinking. And if he knows about this TC, which he does, he should try and castle drop it. And he's got that opportunity here in a second. Ganji is like, he's kind of going the wrong way here. Obviously, he needs to try and kill these villagers. JorDan's going to delete the buildings. Like, Ganji's going to want to be pushing this direction towards JorDan's main base. And we'll see if Ganji reacts to this. He does react nicely. JorDan with an eco lead, though. And yeah, JorDan says, okay, well, your monks are very slow. They're on the other side. You're chasing my villagers. I'll just drop a castle here. And as good as Ganji has played this, I feel like there's just no way that you realistically win this game if this castle completes. Both because of the positioning of it, but also because you don't have a good counter to Mangadai. Shout out to these villagers, by the way, for still staying in here. These villagers are very important. If they would have died right away, Ganji would be pushing JorDan's main base. And JorDan just deletes them all. JorDan, the whole theme of this game with his deaths have just been, it's all synchronized. They all fell flat in their face again. And that's something you see every day. So now JorDan's got some gold income. Well timed, actually, because he's just now completely out of gold at his base. He is going to have to prep to deal with this. So I think he's going to need to micro his Mangadai really well. And now these villagers are running. Oh, God, why are they running? Could they not still be here? Oh, man, that hurts Ganji. And Ganji just had no structure in this game, right? Even the fact that he went here and was pushing backwards was a problem. And now the Step Lancers are actually in on this side. They snipe a Mangonel. And that could be pretty good for Ganji if he converts these things. He's going to convert one. The others will probably not get conversions. The 25 to 6 Eco KD is a pretty big swing. And also so much more idle time for Ganji, as these TCs are kind of useless. He is going to try his best to drop a castle that denies the gold from JorDan, though. That's probably his only chance. If he can get a castle here, which is tough because I don't think you can build on the little water. maybe then it works. But JorDan knows it. Oh, he can place it. But JorDan's got Mangadai. And he's got the Step Lancers. And this game is going to end here. Really good play from JorDan this game. And I think Ganji, he fell way behind. But he genuinely tried everything that he could here. And still is trying, actually. If the castle goes up, he has a chance. This is some epic walling here from him, I have to say. I think the Mangadai will still deny it, though. It's only at 50%. JorDan knows it. Sending more villagers to build his own castle on the other side. And the Step Lancer is going to get in. And yeah, it's going to be 1-1 here in this series. A really interesting debut for Shoals. I think JorDan played the Mongols perfectly. And I think for Ganji, he really struggled with the balance. Maybe, you know, it's like there's always still a slight chance if JorDan screws up. He's still taking gold here. He still has this push. So he's probably going to fight on until he figures out what's going to happen with this push. But yeah, he's in a bad spot at the moment. You know, if you feel like it's a 0.01% chance you can win this game, still genuinely worth it to play on for $40. That 0.01% chance is, it all comes down to if JorDan's going to be able to get the mass to deal with this. We know JorDan will. Ganji probably knows JorDan will. As JorDan's just deleting his buildings now before they get converted. But JorDan's just going to be patient with it. Had he brought the Step Lancers home, he obviously would clear it right away. He's actually not doing that. And he doesn't have Bodkin either. So JorDan's actually giving this a lot more value. And a lot more respect than I expected. Okay, uh-oh. Ganji's distracted because the Step Lancers are in. The Step Lancers are in on this side. And he was focused there, and the GG's called. GG, well played. Very well played from JorDan. Again, I think the coolest thing about how JorDan played this was how he expanded to the additional areas of hunt. There's hunt here, hunt here, hunt here. I think he might have even taken hunt towards the south. I thought he had really good water micro, really good transition towards farming, and really good timing on the castle, and just really good awareness on how the game was flowing. His defense here, obviously, wasn't as good as the aggression from Ganji, but the other aspects of his game are still really strong. GG. All right, so I'm going to type this like I said I was going to. Whoops. Play all three because no one knows what PA3 means. And we'll go into Ganji's home map, which will be Arena. All right, so speeding up now. We are in game number 3. Thanks for the patience. And the big question is, what is Ganji going to do with the Portuguese? He picked Arena as his home map, and he's picked Portuguese as his first civ. JorDan, as many expected, went for the Turks here, so I think we could see a lot of gunpowder. So we did make a couple tweaks to how Arena works for Titans League compared to the first season. Basically, we made players a bit further apart than the first season, but everything else is still pretty much the same. 1800 HP stone walls means that like tower rushing or whatever is not really a good possibility. But yeah, so I'm currently recording this on the 5th of January. I think either on the 5th or the 6th of January, we'll have an upload, which is how do you even stop this? And it was Ganji's buddy, Samero. Okay, they're good friends. He was trying to qualify for Gold League, which he did. Okay, so he's a league down now. He went 23 Pop FC with Portuguese against Burgundians, one of the best arena civs, which many people think is broken. And I was saying the whole time in that cast, I encourage you to watch it still. How on earth do you freaking stop this? It's a ridiculous build order because the change they made to the Portuguese has maybe taken things too far for Arena because it doesn't help that much in other maps, but you get wood from taking berries, which gives you the potential to go up to Castle Age, at least if you're doing it like these guys do it, with 2 or 3 villagers less than you would normally do. And that timing is just crazy for something like Organ Gun Monk. Now that Samara made it look really easy. But again, I know Samaro and Ganji are good friends. I know they're probably chatting. I actually trained with Ganji. I played quite a few games with Ganji before I played in Silver. And I just like kind of know his mindset and know how good he is. And he definitely is going to be prepped for something here if he picked it against JorDan. And as far as the, the whole groups are and the long term here, this is a little sloppy here for Ganji. But as far as all that's concerned, like this has massive ramifications already. We could, if Ganji wins this, look back and say that's what kept Ganji up. That stopped Ganji from getting relegated. Or we could say that's why JorDan ended up being relegated himself. Or this is why JorDan didn't get first place. Or like, you know, whatever the conversation may be. But yeah, if I recall, it was 23 population. And Samara also didn't need to like buy any stone either. Like the other thing about that uptime is normally players are using the market a lot more. I've got a couple people rooting for the Swede here, Ganji. Ganji is the second greatest Swedish Age of Empires 2 player ever. Of course, behind the player Fatslob, who I'm sure many of you know. Fatslob never chose to take his talents to the Definitive Edition or to any tournaments, but obviously he's having mercy on the rest of the player base. What will JorDan do? So what Samaro did was he dropped the castle on the front. And I think it's a success for JorDan if Ganji ends up placing his castle at home, at the very least. So I'm thinking... Well, actually, what about this? So what about you just go for a castle yourself, you stay active with your scout, and if you get castle dropped, you drop a castle right in your own base. And if he drops a castle at home... well, I guess you don't want to castle drop him forward. I think JorDan should just go into his own castle at the end of the day. Like, having the faster gold income is a really nice bonus for Turks. And also getting chemistry for free for instant bomber cannons later is really nice. I just don't think playing into Lycav is a really good decision here. But also that is kind of what Turks want to do in most arena matchups. It's a style thing, too. For JorDan, he's very much a player to play into economy behind some Lycav to compete for map control. And what did I say? 23 pop, right? So, not going to say I called it, but we kind of saw this one coming. Did Ganji really not take his boar, though? Okay, well, that's not good. The boar comes in so much faster than everything else. I don't remember what Samaro did, though. Like, maybe this is intentional. Did he just forget it? Hello? Surely that can't be good here. That can't be part of the plan. Ganji, take your boar, bro. Take your boar. Now, JorDan, if he's expecting this type of uptime, should never have his scout in the middle because Feudal Age scout would kill his. I think he just forgot. That ruins his whole build. He could realistically have more resources. Surely he's going to notice his boar now. Oh, he just noticed. If he's sending that villager, he just noticed. Now, I think Samaro went 23 plus 3. With a normal build, you only add 2 additional villagers. Okay, now the sheep's rotting as well, so this is far from flawless for Ganji. There's a market. And he's going to add quite a few more villagers. Okay. Ultimately, it does just come down to how fast his castle time ends up being. JorDan's not on stone, by the way, so JorDan's just going to add Lycav. Also, I don't mean to be... this isn't meant to come off as judgmental, because, quite frankly, like, this is going to apply to 98% of the player base that's playing in Platinum. But there's no way JorDan knows that game I'm talking about with Samaro, and there's no way that he's thinking that he could be castle dropped at like 1330. We'll see if the uptime ends up actually being there for Ganji, who ended up getting a decent hit there on JorDan's scout. JorDan's just going to run home and take no risks. Ganji's going to drop off food, and yeah, he's delayed, but he'll cook up here. There he goes. He and JorDan actually had similar amounts of idle TC time, but like that, this uptime is not what Samaro achieved, but it's still really good. I think it's honestly just because he didn't take his boar. But I mean, I don't know. He still doesn't have the stone to make a castle yet either. So yeah, it's definitely off from what we saw from Samaro. But yeah, like, you know, JorDan plays his games. He does his thing. He's not like me, where he's covering all these sets and paying attention to everything. And, you know, it's one thing to do homework on your opponent and see what play style he has and what he likes to do in his own games, but no one's going to be like, okay, who is he talking to and what strategies is he doing this week? You know, like, suddenly start game planning for the training partners as well. Yeah, Samaro had an interesting strat. I saw it. It didn't work out, but he was able to get a win against Dragonstar, which was really nice in gold. I said it before Silver. Like, Samaro is a really good player. He just doesn't play a lot of standard ranked games. All right, so Ganji's going to have to make the castle at home. There's no world in which it can go forward, and that's going to be good for JorDan. Because it takes time for the organ gun to mass. And so that's like best case scenario here for JorDan, as he will have the better food in Wood Eco, and he will compete for relics. This villager's going to make a monastery. Castle's going to need to go up. We're going to have the monastery first. And then we'll have the castle. But by the time the castle's up, JorDan will already have 2 relics, possibly. Well, maybe not 2, but he's already going to be on his way to 2. So JorDan having scout coverage in the middle and getting the like have upgrade for free was enough here. I think this is really good for JorDan so far. Now he drops a TC here, and a lot of people might not think this is intentional, but in the back of his mind, he's thinking, well, you always want the second TC on a wood line. That's the first thing. You don't really need it on a stone or a gold usually, because you already have enough. But not only that, but he's thinking, in the event that I really need to panic down the castle, I can just transfer my villagers over to stone or send all my new villagers to stone. So he might even, if he's really worried about this, he might actually start off with some of the villagers being on stone, but that's highly unlikely. So JorDan saw the castle. That aspect, obviously, not a surprise for him. And Scout comes out here for Ganji, but he's going to be up against Light Cav. He's going to hope to snipe monks. As I said, JorDan already kind of on the way to get relic number 2. Organ Gun's massing. Still 6 on stone. So this is going to be all in from Ganji. Eventually, he wants to drop a forward castle. The thing that's interesting about this is, if he can get a castle here, he denies a lot of resources. But also, a castle here also takes out the monastery. So you could end up just taking those relics for yourself if you're Ganji. Nice job from Ganji, by the way. He's outnumbered and everything. JorDan's going to try and block here. He's going to go back and forth in front. And Ganji's got to realize this and click a ton. Really good play all around there. Both players did exactly what I said. And now JorDan's got to be careful, and JorDan runs away. Let's see if Ganji wants to castle drop here. He knew there was a relic there. He's going for the monk. I think the monk will get in. Shut the door. Shut the door. Shuts the door. Okay. You never want to castle drop the short walls. You always want the longer walls because there's a better chance that you're going to have more coverage and, like, trap them in a bit more. Like, if you castle here, JorDan can freely leave. You castle here, it's more cramped over here for JorDan. But Ganji's going to have a decision to make just because of the positioning of the, the walls, but also the stone and gold here. I feel like if you're placing a forward castle, you almost always want to be taking stone and gold from your opponent, though, after you do it. So maybe you could compromise and place it here. And look, JorDan knows. This is experience from JorDan on the clown maps. Look at this. He's going to move his relics back, which is super smart. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people over the years be like, why didn't so-and-so move their relics? And I usually have an explanation for it. Like, well, it's not worth their time or effort, blah, 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 blah. But, like, in this case, it absolutely is. And he also sends the villagers to stone. So this is, I think, well executed from both players thus far. It's not out of the ordinary at all to see what we're seeing here. And I think both players are expecting or have expected exactly what their opponents are going to do. Turks do get redemption, but that's 500 some gold to be able to convert organ guns that are now going to be over the number of 10. And here come the Vills now. And Ganji, I think he might change his castle position based on not seeing the relics in that monastery. But as I say that, never mind. JorDan, where are the relics? Okay, they're not too far behind this now. But he knows that this castle's probably going to be coming up, and there it is. So will JorDan go for redemption or what? I think the key here for JorDan is stone walls and your own castle right here. You need your own castle right now before this gets out of hand. I'm not even sure I like houses. Like, I think you might need more than that, but you need to get a castle here. Castle here, and JorDan can go imp. Look at the food eco for JorDan. I'm shocked JorDan isn't placing this castle. What's happening? JorDan. Oh, I'm not even a big fan of this one. Because I think a castle here, and you can still mine this gold, and it kind of protects the units from running in this way from Ganji. Now Ganji's in a good position to be able to do damage to all this, whereas a castle here with fletching would make it more awkward. But this is the pressure that comes in, right? And what he's expecting is he's expecting Ganji to go fast imp behind this. So what he is doing properly here, I gotta say, I think the game's been really well played by JorDan, with the exception of the castle spot. He's gonna just try and go imp, which is so well timed here. I'm really impressed with that. But let's see what Ganji sees, right? So Ganji's gonna see the castle now. But if you're Ganji, you're like, I'm not up yet. He might be up. You gotta push. And so this is the direction you want to push. See what I mean, though? If the castle was here, Ganji would... Well, I guess Ganji's still going this direction anyways. You know, this is where I would probably get redemption. I don't know if that's correct. Like, he's instead using the gold to buy food so we can get imp. I guess, actually... Now, redemption's kind of a stupid move. Because you're just going to take out the buildings quickly anyways. JorDan doesn't even have a loom right now. Oh, man. This is his imp TC, by the way. It's unlikely, but there's actually a chance that he could lose that. It's at 40%. He's adding a few Janissaries. He, of course, can't convert the organ guns from his opponent. And now we have Ganji on the way to imp as well. This is crazy. JorDan doesn't have a market now. His eco's remarkably balanced. Ganji doesn't realize it, but he should really be forcing fights all the time. Like, it should just be engage, 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 engage. Janissaries do have a little bit more range than the organ guns, though, so JorDan's being enough of a threat here and making it awkward enough for Ganji. And now we have the Siege Workshop from JorDan. I have to say, this is a really good arena game. Like, both players have executed very nicely on what they have to do here. And JorDan's micro has been so good here. And if there's ever a risk, he just runs into his TC. He's picking away from range. It's so good. If I'm Ganji, I'm now worried about this, and I feel like I cannot push at all. And so he's going to try and back away. JorDan realizing this. Trying to move in. Monk's also trying to get conversions, though. JorDan has to be careful. And JorDan should instantly make a bomber cannon, which he does. Ganji still massing more monks. These hussars going for that villager there. That's not something Ganji expected, but he reacts to it. And JorDan will now be thinking, crap, he's going to try and convert my cannons as he drops another castle just in case. JorDan will be trying to pressure this. Love the fact he's adding a Treb, because Trebs can't be converted by the monks. The Treb is a really important addition here. What a great game. I'm wondering if we're going to see a Fatoria from Ganji. It really feels like this game hasn't flowed as Ganji would have wanted. He's very exposed in the middle. His organ guns can kind of be countered by the Janissaries. His monks could always be countered by some Hussar. Granted, JorDan only has one at the moment. Make it 0. He also doesn't have the relics. Now, if he wants to drop Fatoria, he needs to prep houses. And he also going to want block printing here, which he has queued behind that monk. That allows him to convert the bomber cannon, but it doesn't give him an answer to Trebs. Get very impressed with how JorDan has dealt with this. I love every aspect of his play, except the initial castle spot, and even then it wasn't that bad, right? He had the Janissary, so he didn't take as much damage. 3 relics for JorDan? He probably wouldn't have the relics had he not moved the relics back. 68 villagers versus 46, but we do see a Fatoria. Costs 250 stone and 250 gold, but also brings in increments of resources forever. And generally speaking, the Fatoria is never seen as strong as Eco, right? But it is something you can have forever. But Ganji's falling back now, and JorDan's being extremely patient. I think if I saw this many monasteries and in JorDan's position, I would add more stables. And he looks like he's already working on that. And even the re-wall is really smart thinking here from him. And he needed some stone income, so he's going to get that now. JorDan's got to be careful, though. Ganji could convert every single thing that's out here. There's also still a hole here. Okay. Trebs from Ganji. It almost feels like Ganji's going to play this very similar to how he won game 1, where he gets a big ball of siege, and he just goes for one fight when JorDan's not really expecting it. Very different scenarios, obviously. The economy is very different. Oh, man. That villager's not going to be able to re-wall that. And now, can the bombard cannons realistically do something? JorDan's going for artillery, so his bombard cannons outrange the monks by 2 range. You know, there's still so many monks. It feels like such an expensive move. I think more than anything, you just need hussars. But, I mean, the artillery with good micro, and JorDan's had really good micro this game, could make a lot of sense. As you can see, it allows them to run away, and look at that. He kills a couple monks. That's sick play from JorDan. Wow, JorDan's looked like he's faced up against this a million times before. I know he does play on Arena a bit more frequently than some other players do. Like, he doesn't ban Arena like some of the other high-level players. So, certainly seeing that experience here. And Ganji could still convert them, though. And Ganji could also convert the hussars or kill the hussars with the organs. This game is not over yet, but it's getting closer to its conclusion. 40 bucks on the line. Ganji has to pay close attention to the front, and he always is. And gets a lot harder to play in Ganji's position than JorDan's position right now. JorDan just needs to micro 2 cannons and then be as patient as possible. Basically, you do not take this fight until you have to take the fight, or until you're going to win the game. Oh, man. That poor Ganji. You could tell he's trying to decide on if he goes in for these castles here. But he's got to know that there's trouble behind those castles. The play here would not be a surprise to him from JorDan. It's always expected. As JorDan's actually housed at the moment, which is kind of interesting. You know, consider the cost of artillery and how many monks Ganji's actually lost. He's only lost like 3 monks. It's what, like 260 gold? Or is that wrong? 240 gold with the Portuguese. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Janissary's getting converted. Castle's going to go down for JorDan, so he's going to be housed again. Oh boy. Still a lot of monks alive. Still a lot of organs to protect the monks. Bombard cannons needed the protection of the castle fire there. Okay. All the trebs are not going on to this. Oh god, Ganji, is he in position for this? Is he in position for this? He wants to start the conversions from a long way away. This could be a big problem. He needs to convert half the hussars to have a chance. The organ guns are going to help, but JorDan's got 40 more eco. He just needs to kill the monks. And yeah, Ganji, he had to try something. He knew JorDan was going to come out here, but he still got his cannons alive. He could still make more hussars. Actually, Ganji actually still is a really interesting position here. He's going to take out JorDan's trebs. There's 13 more monks in queue, but it's just going to take a moment, I think, for JorDan, who realistically should just delete his walls at this point. He doesn't need them. They hurt him more than help him. And you can tell JorDan feels the same as he just starts to farm out here, that he's going to push this back. And just sniping the monks. Okay, he's got to use the cannons for the trebs. And I think Ganji will be very happy that he got that win to start off the series. He had a good strategy here, but JorDan just expected it. And so this answers the question of, like, can you stop this? Well, maybe it's easier to stop it with the Turks, right? The instant bombard cannons made such a big difference. The free hussar made such a big difference. which is what you don't have if you're the Burgundians, for example. Ganji going to try Pikeman now. And he's not giving up yet. 2 Fatorias back here. But 2 Fatorias, you know, cost 500 resources to Fatoria. And then it just doesn't feel like that pays off in the short term. It's only a long-term thing. And JorDan's already ready. Only thing JorDan's lacking here is Trebs. If he had some Trebs, I think this castle would definitely go down. Without the Trebs, Ganji could pop out of the castle with monks, and he could try and convert these and push them back. I'm a little surprised that Ganji's not trying that, because he has to keep this castle up. Maybe he just doesn't have the monk numbers yet. JorDan's got so many hussars now. But, you know, there are sometimes games as JorDan even snipes the trap. The man, artillery was such a good move. And JorDan doesn't need to toss away all of his hussars. You do have the lead, JorDan, but be patient with it. Looks like he's kind of being patient. He's trying to keep the monks from heading this way. Ends up looping around, sees more monks and wants to kill those monks. Doesn't end up getting them. Now the monks hop out of the castle. And, okay, Bomber Cannon converted. JorDan, however, has produced a lot of Janissaries. So, Pikeman's not going to be as effective. But you know those games, guys, where, you know, the game ends and you're just like, well, that wasn't so good for that player, or that player completely outclassed the other. Sometimes there are just games that weren't 2 really good players with 2 really good strategies facing off against each other. That happens. This was not one of those games. Like, this game here was genuinely well played from both sides, and we're seeing JorDan just out-execute and have an answer to everything Ganji is going to throw at him here. Remember, he picked Turks at the very end of his draft, too. I think without Turks, like, if you have Burgundians or Poles or any of the other civilizations that players opt for an arena these days, I think you have big problems. Free Hussar, free chemistry was just huge here. The monks trying their best. JorDan's got the Trebs and cannons behind this. And those monks for Ganji, they need conversions. They need them fast. Need every single one. He might get them, actually. JorDan. Oh, are you kidding me? Ganji's super unlucky. I can't believe he didn't convert those bomber cannons. It felt like he had units on that for so long. No, Turks don't get Onager. Onager's way too expensive for the Portuguese, so that's not going to be a good option. You're kind of stuck on your current unit composition if you're Ganji. Who does still have those Fatorias, and his population's telling him he's in this, because he says 130 pop. That, of course, is 40 higher than his actual population. I mean, he's still producing monks all the time. He's still producing some pikes. He's now producing hand cannons, too. Oh, JorDan, I love it. Going heresy, guys. That's really good. Now, any unit that gets converted does not switch sides. It just dies. 1,000 gold for that, but I think it's worth it. I'm getting fletching now. I mean, you know, the one concern I do have for JorDan is long-term gold income. He can't take these golds. He's on this gold, and then the 3 relics. So, Ganji's still got a chance here. Army count's still pretty similar. JorDan's also trying to make what is a pretty expensive switch into Cav Archers. The upgrades, combined with, you know, the numbers, gonna be pretty costly. I mean, monk conversions still are going to matter an awful lot. But the big thing that you don't realize that happens when conversions come in is is how the units in your group then target that unit that just got converted. So it's not so much losing the unit, it's the fact that your units have to deal with it. Even before you even talk about whatever damage output that unit does to you, it's more so just the fact that your Janissaries here wouldn't be firing on red units. Now that Heresy's in, that problem is solved. Lovely move from JorDan, who says, I wonder if he's on that stone. Looped around over here. Also has the Cav Archers there. So JorDan's just been using his mobility on a map where normally you can't do that easily. And Ganji still feels so desperate. Like, now he has to deal with that, and then what happens here is JorDan picks him apart. Snipes a Trebuchet. Snipes a Bombard Cannon. Oh, Ganji... I misclicked like that yesterday. He probably tried to click the castle and clicked beyond it, so it ran in too far. Or maybe he clicked one of JorDan's bombard cannons before the Hussar raid. And JorDan's never the type of player to finish someone off fast. He always whittles them down. It's slow and methodical because he doesn't play with risks. But I think JorDan's going to end up with a 2-1 result here to open up Titans League Group C. He does need to engage against this. His army count is still on par with what Ganji has, which is wild to me. Ganji's done such a good job. I thought Ganji was dead like 10 minutes ago. He did make another Victoria, actually. So maybe losing the Bills didn't hurt him that bad. We've got Halb. We've got Monk. Lots of Hussars dive in for those Monks. They are cheap with Portuguese, but still, that's a lot of Monks going down. You could obviously argue that Monks are not as effective now. So it's kind of an alright unit to lose. And it's going to be Halb hand cannons and Trebs that are more important. We now have Sipahi for JorDan, who's still trying to get the Cav Archer Mass, Parthian Tactics. I don't recall seeing him get Thumb Ring, but I would imagine he either has that in queue behind Parthian or he already got it. To me, it feels like he doesn't have it based on the eye test. But again, I could be wrong there. And those bomber cannons from JorDan now are the biggest killer here. 22 kills these 4 bomber cannons have between themselves. And they're just going to pick away from 14 range. And the monks before were a threat to it, but now there's not many monks. You could tell Ganji's still been in this mindset of, I have to push him and keep him off of this area or I'm dead. So he's like trying. But the Cav Archer switch was actually a really nice decision here from JorDan. It is absolutely paying off. They have extra HP now. Interesting lumber camp spot here for Ganji. So yeah, I think, unfortunately, Ganji's going to be forced to call it quits here. We could maybe convert that one, and nope. It's pushed away. The pop is genuinely at a spot where it's unwinnable now for Ganji. But a great opening series. Like, Ganji showed in the first game how sick of a player he can be. And if you would have told Ganji going into this series that he would lose 2-1 to JorDan, I think he'd say, you know what, not a bad start. I remember JorDan was second place in his group in the first season. So Ganji gets 1 win. Obviously, a lot of work cut out for him there in Group C. There will be 4 more rounds for him and 4 more rounds for JorDan against all the other players. But $40 go to Ganji, $80 goes to JorDan, plus they're fighting towards the rest of the league and the placement prizes. Really happy with the first series, guys. I felt like it was good all-around play. We had epic moments. We had strategic moments. We had a good diversity of the maps, too, with like Ghost Lake, then a water map, and then Arena. Good stuff. As always, if you ended up watching this later on in the Extras channel, thank you. I never know the full plan for my uploads at the time of recording them, so it's possible some of this hit the main channel as well. Thank you, everyone, for watching, supporting Titans League, and enjoying the casts. JorDan obviously dominated with the economy there. Victoria definitely kicks in the long run with a golden stone, but there's still so many resources left on that map. And I still actually can't get over how good JorDan ended up playing this game. Like, every small thing. He spotted the castle. He stopped it from being forward because he added light cap. He moved the relics back. He went fast imp when the castle came up so he could end up pushing that back. His second town center even allowed that because his second town center was on the stone. The artillery move with the 14 range bombard cannons made a difference. The Hussar switch, the Cav Archer switch, the patience. Like, this was a masterclass from JorDan. I normally wouldn't associate masterclass JorDan with Arena. So, no offense, Jordy. Not to, hit you while I'm complimenting you, but still, very impressive game there. I don't think Ganji had a bad game at all. Again, though, I do think that this strategy is really good against a civilization that doesn't get insta-Hussar and doesn't get insta-chemistry. I think it would be a lot stronger against Burgundians, Poles, or any civilization apart from the Turks. Turks have so much possible, whether they want to go all in with their own castle unique unit, which they can do, or play it like that. And that's why you want them in your draft.